everybody. Good morning and welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel. I'm actually in before everybody gets here this morning. It's kind of one of the good things about the days I have my girls, because I take them to school and I get here way before everybody else does. And we're going to give you guys an update on the shop projects in this video. Show you some of the stuff that's going on with the Black Viper, as well as the Lawn Dart, which that's a bad unit right there. And you guys might notice the Green Viper is gone. So it's loaded back in the box. And yes, we did not make it to the national championships with the SCCA runoffs. Not because we didn't get the cars finished, because Lee, that owns the cars, couldn't get away from work with a development project that he just couldn't get away from. Sometimes that's the way it goes, unfortunately. So once we established that last Thursday, we didn't work all weekend to get the cars wrapped up. So in fact, we went from 4 people working on the projects to only 2 people. So that's why things kind of slowed back down, so that we could get stuff done on this car. And obviously there's the Blazer in the back that I've been working on, which that's going to be its own video. And we've got some other things going on that we'll show you guys after the intro. So, as always, thank you to the new subscribers to the channel. And if you're not a subscriber and you want to see what life's like at a performance shop that does a little bit of everything, click subscribe, follow along. And if you want some KSR merch, winwithksr.com. I got to get that out of the way, because every time I mention it, people buy things, and that helps me afford to do more YouTube videos. So anyways, let's talk about the Lawn Dart first, because this is one bad unit right here. And it is a no-time car, at least for right now. That may be changing in the near future. But this has an Ace Racing Engines LS in it. And Ace just moved from California right down to Bradenton, so right around the corner from us. It's a LS combo with a single turbo. And in some ways, this car was kind of built as a sister car to Soccer Mom, meaning that there's a lot of similarities, like turbo placement. You can see turbo hiding in the right front corner. It is a leaf spring car, so that's pretty cool. We like leaf springs. It's on a 275 drag radial, also just like Soccer Mom. But this one, at least until like 5 days ago, had steel doors, and the only non-steel body panel was the hood. And then earlier this year, he also made his own carbon fiber trunk. So you might can see that he went a little thin on the gel coat. Actually just laid this up in his garage. Saved like 50 pounds or something, because you can see the trunk's kind of big on this thing. And being that it's a 1963 Dart that not a lot of people drag race, there's not a big aftermarket support for a car like this. And the reason that Dick, the guy that owns this car, built this car is this is actually the car that he took his driver's license test in many years ago, which I think is awesome. It's been in his family, I think, for like 60 years. The car's a 63. I don't remember if his family bought it new, but like his parents drove it. Dick is retired from the military. He flew fighter jets. He's been shot off an aircraft carrier. All kinds of awesome stuff. And we obviously love our military people around here, especially when they're local and they build race cars. But any of you that are military, we appreciate your sacrifice for our country, with your time and your effort into making this nation the greatest one in the world, at least in my opinion. Anyways, this thing, like I said, I can't talk about times on it, but I can tell you what the car's here for and a little bit about it. It kind of looks like we might need to polish that front window. So that's been in there for a few years now. Probably needs a new polishing. I think this is just lexan. It's not optic armor. I don't think we put an optic armor window in this thing. But, and you guys can tell by looking at this, Dick found him some fiberglass doors. And I just was gonna, like that just kind of showed you one of my little tricks. So when I do fiberglass doors, I put the upper hinge, like there's an axis that this door swings on, right? So I put my upper hinge and the axis of the pins is aligned so that the door swings up. So this top one is in just a little bit. So that axis is tilted just a little bit. And the reason I do that is because the doors will automatically swing back towards the car. And when you are, it's good because like when you're in the car, in my opinion, this is good. Because like say you're sitting in the car and you open the door and the door falls open, if it's super windy and the wind grabs a hold of the door, and like these fiberglass doors, they can really be flung open in a hurry. With the door wanting to stay shut, you're less likely to have the wind get a hold of it and just slam the door open, bust the front of the door, bust the hinges. It's just one of the ways I do things. I think it works good. I don't know. Maybe people agree, maybe people don't. Some people like them where they just, you open them up and they stay open and flat there. We're actually going to tighten this up so where it doesn't open quite as much. Like there's really not much reason to have this door open much more than that. But we're also doing windows at the same time. And let's see if it's going to, that's the way your fiberglass door should close. No drama, nice and simple. Not a very hard push. Doors close. Yeah, I'm patting myself on the back a little bit. Gotta do that every now and then, So on this side, you can see our frame we built. And, this is a steel frame we bend up. We're gonna tuck the windows in where they hit the weather strip. There's gonna be a latch here in the corner that keeps the top of this window drawn to the chassis. Because if you guys don't know this, and you may have seen it in some other cars, as the air is coming, bending and coming off the front of the car. So the airflow is zooming down the front of the car. It hits the windshield. It's either got to go up or it's got to go around. Well, the air cannot stay attached as it rounds this corner. So there's a low pressure area right here on cars. And the faster you go, the more that low pressure area can become a problem. Some cars that have the windshield laid way back and it's more aerodynamic than these older cars are. It's not as big a deal, but still, it's kind of like a sliding scale of the faster the car goes, the more it becomes a problem, but also the less aerodynamic the car is, the more it becomes a problem. So anyways, that is why we put the latch here, and maybe we'll set up a time lapse or maybe we'll talk about it more at the end of this video, but we're going to make it to where this cannot happen as long as that upper latch is done. So that'll be what we're after there. So that's going to tie, like the next thing we've got to do today is finish fitting the windows, and we painted them black, so it's all kind of going to blend in. We did not replace these. Like these are still glass. That might be the next thing that Dick does on the car to try to get a little bit of weight out of it. And yeah, they're actually, so you see the carbon here. The doors are not carbon. The doors are fiberglass. Dick made this lip because when he bought the doors, they actually had a channel here for using like a stock style window, I guess. But that's our situation there. Once we bolt this up, like this is kind of still just loosely bolted now. But once we put the windows in here, this will gain a lot more strength. You can see it's just a little floppy right now because we haven't bolted the entire window to it. So the idea with these supports is that the window now makes a triangle, or is supported by a triangle. And if we had the room to, we might do something different with how this all works. But this is what we're gonna do. This is how Soccer Mom's done. It gives you a place to grab a hold of when you're in the car, sitting by yourself. And as you can see, you step away from the car, door almost closes by itself, which is nice when you're in the staging lanes, you're sitting in the car, your crew or your buddies walk up towards the starting line. That means that you as the driver can close yourself into the car, flip your latch on your upper window all by yourself, and close yourself in without having one of your crew guys come shut you into the car. There's been some times where in Soccer Mom, I've had to have somebody come help me because we've already got the window net up and I'm sitting far enough back in the car that I can't reach different things and can't get the door shut as easily as this car is. And you know, just the more you do things, the more you get better at them. So that's probably enough yapping for this car. Let's talk about this one. Yeah. So you can't quite tell from here, but the back hatch is off the car because it's over there. Eddie has been fitting the rear window to it. So originally, obviously, this would have been glass. And they don't make a molded back window for these cars. So this is, I think, the third or fourth Gen 4 Viper we've put a plexiglass window in the back of it. And I kind of showed it in another video, but something new we did for this one is we 3D printed spacers that fit between the plastic window and the original frame, and they vary in thickness. Kind of can see them in there maybe. Looks like we need to get some shorter bolts as well. If for nothing else, just the weight. And yeah, this is a car that we chase every little bit of weight on because we're overweight for the class that we run the car in. I think we're only, after this round of changes, we haven't got the car back on the scale yet, but we think the car lost like 50 pounds on the rebuild after the crash. So that's a good thing. But I didn't see this until right now, so I may talk to Eddie about ordering some screws that are 1/4 inch shorter, and we replace all those screws with 1/4 inch shorter screws. Because when it comes to building a race car, when you work on and you know all the smallest changes eventually add up to a substantially big change. Yeah, that kind of made sense. So, if you guys didn't know, this car got crashed earlier this year at Sebring. Kind of an unfortunate deal, just a racing deal, but cold track, first session of the day, used tires that were hard as hockey pucks, and Lee squeezed the throttle, and these cars don't have traction control. He was kind of rushing because they were just trying to get on track, get some laps. Well, looped it, put it in the fence, and it required a new bumper, a new quarter panel, a new side skirt here, which is, by the way, the only metal body part on a Viper. They had to repair the door. We put a new fender on it, and we put a new front bumper on it. The front bumper is actually back over at the paint shop because they just messed up the stripes a little bit. They didn't continue them all the way down to the splitter. No big deal. Drug it back over there. One of the reasons this car, or cars like this, take a while to fix is because some things like this you cannot buy. This is a molded piece, and it's some kind of composite, and it's molded to the frame rail or epoxied or something. So when this gets damaged, as you can see it was here, we cut it out. And today we've got some panel bond coming in. We're gonna bond this repair piece so that we can then install some more slots where the factory bumper attaches to. And like little things add up to lots of time. Like when we had to replace this crash structure. Well, this crash structure is very modified. So you can see this hole is not stock. This slot is not stock. And we do that so that originally you can imagine all of this being blocked across here. So as the air is coming through the front grille, it's kind of being funneled straight through. But when we can open this up, it gives the air time to start bending and reaching the upper parts of the radiator. You can see it's got ducting. Some of the ducting was damaged, so we had to fix that. Lots and lots of stuff. We had to double check and recheck all the alignment. We did redo the exhaust on the car while it was out. Got rid of the mufflers just because they're extra weight. So they're kind of tucked up in there now, so you can't even see them. Or can't even see all the work that Eddie did on the exhaust. This car also has air jacks, which are sweet. Same with the rear bumper structure, which you can't even see, but it's got a zillion holes drilled in it. You can kind of see them hiding up in there. But stuff like that adds up to be tons and tons of time for a rebuild. And we were just kind of working on this car a little bit at a time between other shop projects. And then it got down to race time. And when we were going to Wisconsin, Lee was like, well, can we take both cars? We're like, yeah, I think we can take both cars. So that's what we were doing until we weren't. So the second plan was to go to Sebring this weekend. The same project that is preventing Lee from going to Wisconsin for the national championship now has prevented him from even going to Sebring. So I think 2 or 3 weeks from now, there's some kind of Sebring event he's going to try to get into. Or we'll get him to come up here and we'll go out to the firm, which isn't a really good track to test a car like this because it's set up more for big tracks. If we were running the thing just at the firm is a medium-sized track, I would say. I think it's 1.7 miles around it. Sebring is, I think, 4.7 miles. So a lot longer lap times, a lot higher speeds, faster corners. All that stuff factors into kind of how you set the car up. But y'all are probably tired of me yapping. So I'm going to set up a time lapse. It's just kind of going to get some general shop stuff happening this morning. And then once we're wrapped up with things, we'll go back live and hopefully have the back hatch on this car, have the windows done in Dick's car, have the wing back from paint, have the front bumper back on, see what all we can get done. Stay tuned. All right, so you can see I set up the time-lapse camera here kind of far back away from the projects in the shop, and I wanted to just give you guys an idea of how much movement there is in the shop on these different jobs. And Dick and I are working on the Lawn Dart, his car, and then a couple of the guys are working on the Viper. I think another guy is back in the dyno room swapping a fuel pump out in a Monte Carlo that I might have showed you guys a little bit earlier. And then you can see the office guys coming in and out and working on, their job is to handle some of the billing, get parts and stuff ordered, and also figure out which parts we've used because we write notes and lists for while we're working on a project. But anyways, these projects like we're doing on Dick's car here, that's one of those things that you might not think takes a lot of time, but fiberglass door install, plus lexan windows, plus window frame mounts, plus door hinges, door latches, the safety arrow catches that are on the top of the windows. I mean, that's a 40, 50 hour job. By the time it's all said and done, from the car coming in And when Dick brought his car in, he already had the doors off, like the factory doors, had already kind of roughed up the idea of where the doors were going to go. So basically, as soon as he rolled in the door, we started fitting the door hinges. And then we got those done a couple days there, and then a couple days in the rest of the fitting them to the car. And, you know, that's just kind of the way it is with these things. You can't always tell how long a job is going to take when you bring it into the shop, but we clock in, we do the job, clock out, and bill the customer. Hopefully, we'll get to go to the track with Dick with this thing, or he'll actually be in an event we're racing Soccer Mom at, and maybe we'll be able to tell you how fast this thing is, because that's in his plans, and stay tuned to see.
You should say that on video.
Can I do it?
No, I mean,
Please.
well, yeah. So we had to put this thing on the ground because, yeah, show you guys some of the mods we did. Fender vents.
This right
Side
here
skirts.
is for suspension changes. Right
That's for
here.
shock adjustments?
Yep, shock adjustments.
Okay, yep, all new side of the car over here, so that looks sweet. The black wheels, while they look awesome, we need a different offset.
Yeah.
But this thing looks just downright. Ow, there's a lift I just ran into. Whew, that looks mean. You want to pull your plastic off your window? You scratch it already?
No. That's just fiberglass dust.
Are you gonna have to take every single bolt
I
loose
really hope not. No, I can get it out. It's just dust.
Yeah, the sanding dust.
You already did the inside of it?
Yeah, I already took the inside off.
That is very satisfying.
Very.
Not a scratch on her. She's a car again.
Yay!
Woo! Yeah, Eddie came up with some new end plates because the ones on the car got destroyed. Man, if those wheels were just half an inch in more.
Yep. So these came off the comp coupe, which is a wider body.
Yep.
So it's all the same suspension and stuff, but
Yep.
you just have a wider body.
We need to tuck them in just a fuzz more.
Yep.
I love the fender vents. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too. I love
That's serious right there.
Take tire temperatures right here, CJ. Oh, sweet. It'd be easy. Boom, boom, boom.
I think he's sending us an extended splitter too.
Yeah.
Same one that's on Grant's silver one in the back. Man, that thing looks good.
Oops,
That go the wrong direction?
that was me.
It's supposed to go up on the... Yeah, we'll figure that out.
It'll pull.
Yeah.
I did that once before.
Oh yeah, and this side's got the stickers on it. Can I get back far enough to see the whole car in regular? Whew!
I really want to move that Quafe sticker. I just don't like the way where it is.
Well, we were talking about pulling all the stickers off of it.
Yeah,
Because-
getting it detailed. Or like buffed and polished.
Yeah, maybe have the whole car polished, and then we can PPF the front because we're...
Yeah, re-PPF this.
Yeah. That looks good.
Yeah, it does. Should we plug the ECU and stuff back in and try to fire it up?
Did you think you fixed it?
I don't know.
We did crank it up and it was running a little funny. Did you unplug the...
No, I haven't yet, but I'll just unplug the OBD2 connector.
Okay. Did you make sure it's got gas in it?
I didn't, but it wouldn't have run the other day if it didn't have gas in it. Or you just think?
Well, I mean, it's like barely any gas.
We ever pump it out after it wrecked, CJ? I didn't pump it out of the track when he wrecked it.
Okay.
I just stuffed it in there. But I mean, we can check.
Well, you do all that and then we'll try to crank it.
Okay.
Cool. And then, you saw, is the time-lapse still time-lapsing? Yeah, it is. We'll shut that off. So if you saw the one part in the time-lapse where I was welding up under the hood of this thing, we did one of those temporary crank sensor mounts, and it turned into a permanent crank sensor mount, but it cracked here because I had only welded one side of it in a rush to make a race. And so then I just welded both sides of it. And it'll last at least twice as long as it did.
Hopefully.
So doors are done with the exception of I've got to do the hooks that these latch to. And then I fit this window a little too tight, and it needs a little bit of shimming, which I'll show you on the other side. Or it needs a little bit taken off of the top of the door or the window. So the goal was to get it to tuck inside the weather strip. And then back here it comes out because this goes on top of this just to seal it up kind of deal, instead of having, like, you got a piece of glass and a piece of glass. So instead of making something to go between all this, we just let them overhang a little bit. And this might, if we maybe profiled that a little bit, that's just the plastic covering on the very top.
Let's just do this.
Oh yeah, let's get 2 for 1. Oh, 2 for 1 Lexan window pulls in one video.
You know what I've realized?
That's fun.
There's a lot of times
Little
where
static shock.
where we end up doing the same thing on 2 different cars at the same time.
Yeah.
Very common.
And if you saw me sanding on the edge of the Lexan, the goal is eventually you sand this with like 1,000 or 1,500 grit, and it doesn't have that lighter color. It'll just look like a piece of glass too. I think that looks pretty freaking awesome.
Yep. Turned out well.
Nice and easy. Oh, made me a liar.
There we go.
There. That's all it takes to shut it. And then when you close the door, whoever's outside, or there's a lever on the back of this inside that he can use to lock the door himself. But I still have to weld some hooks onto the chassis for that little arm in there to catch on. So that's what I'm about to do to get this thing wrapped up, and then it's going in the trailer. So Dick can take it to the track and see how much faster it is, weighing less than it ever has before. And that's exciting. That's a long 5 minutes.
Do I get to crank it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we briefly heard the exhaust, but CJ hasn't.
I'm not. I'm excited. It's all cammed out.
Let's see it. Yeah, let's see if it acts silly like it did. Yeah.
ECU plugged in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, gauges? They work?
Of course it just quit.
It's way louder on that side.
Yeah, it is.
Like this side of the motor ain't even running.
Barely.
This side of the motor's not running. Yeah, this side of the motor don't sound like it's even running. Which is wild that it'll tug itself along.
Yeah.
Um,
Wonder if something got disconnected. Wiggled loose.
well, the exhaust sounds cool, at least from that side, on the side of the engine that's actually running.
Yeah.
Side of the car that's running. So the interesting thing, or at least kind of unique thing about a V10 engine, or at least these V10s, they are like dead smooth on each side of the engine. So if you hear any pulsing in the exhaust, you have a misfire. This side would have a misfire, but also there's barely any noise coming out of this pipe at all. So something else we need to figure out. I'm gonna go back to my job over there because I've got to leave to go to gymnastics in actually like 5 minutes. So I'm probably not going back to work. Anyways, we'll be back tomorrow to wrap up Dick's car, as well as hopefully figure out this thing. So anyways, see you then. All right, well, we are back the next morning, right at 11 o'clock. Got everything in here, and we'll show you, like, if you didn't understand the hoops, that's what we're talking about. And you can kind of see that's what catches that hoop. So actually get the door closed, and then you push this to latch it. And now the top of the window is securely affixed to the chassis. And you can even try to open the door. And I mean, eventually you could shake it open, but that shows you, it gives you an idea of what those latches are trying to do. So, this thing's ready to go. Actually, no, it's not, because we didn't plug the ECU back in after welding on the chassis. But got all that done. I like the tinted windows. Like they really look good. Oh, there's me. Hi. Yeah, that all worked out really well. So that'll wrap it up for this video. Appreciate everybody watching, subscribing, following along. See you in the next one.